how was that decision-making process when PepsiCo or your team decided to switch to at least move a part of the fleet towards electric?
Yep.
How did that decision happen, and what were the main drivers pushing that, and how did this come into play, basically?
Well, again, we operated 77,000 power units in the U.S., and that was across Pepsi and Frito. So again, we were looking at just about anything that could help us get out of the carbon fossil fuel. Electric trucks was, a start on that piece right there. But at the same time, we were also dabbling in compressed natural gas to kind of help reduce that as well. We had the good thing was with PepsiCo, the sustainability agenda started at the CEO desk, and so it was kind of driven down from there. It wasn't like we had to kind of push it upwards. So we had full support of PepsiCo to kind of go down this road. Everyone on the operations side and the procurement side knew that the electric trucks on an upfront cost was significantly more expensive than a traditional truck that we would go to market with. And I'll tell you, the cost of those trucks back in 2012 was the last one that I could actually kind of get my hands on. It was in the $150,000 range. A traditional route truck for us as we went to market, it might have been $50,000. So, I mean, you're talking 3x the cost, and that's just on the upfront cost. So again, the government grants actually, kind of helped minimize some of that, but it didn't kind of offset everything. So you had the incremental upfront costs, but what we also discovered was that as we started to put those trucks in each one of our distribution centers, there was this infrastructure cost to kind of get the charging station and all that other stuff kind of put in there. And when we went back and looked at that, for every truck that we would put in one of our distribution centers, there was about $7,500 in addition to the cost of the truck. Okay. So again, there was a lot of kind of early learnings on that piece there. It wasn't just the cost of the truck. You had to really kind of think about what your infrastructure looked like and how you were going to kind of position that.
So can you give a little bit more details on what goes into that infrastructure cost at the distribution center?
Yeah, so for every one of these trucks, they have to have their own separate charging station. So you have to, kind of pull the electricity and do this whole charging station for each one of the trucks. So if you had 20 trucks, that would mean that you'd have to have 20 separate stalls set aside for those trucks. And then when they would come back in, the driver would plug the car or the truck back in, and it would take anywhere from 12 to 15 hours to get the charge back into the batteries so that they could go out the next day and run their route.
Okay. And on that topic specifically, so what were the strategic or let's say operational decision that you took there? You mentioned 400 trucks. Yep. Did you put all of them on the same site, or how did you prioritize the part of the fleet that you wanted to electrify?
We had an existing fleet that was aged. So what we did was, and these were a diesel-powered truck with a 24-foot box on the back. So think of like a Ryder truck or a Penske truck, right? That's what we were taking out, and we were in place of that truck, we were putting the electric trucks in there. So it was high cube box, but it was only set up for specific routes within large metro areas. Okay. So part of the early